Hi, and welcome to Clappia. In this video, we'll learn how to use the Rich Text Editor block in Clappia. The Rich Text Editor block allows users to format their text directly in the app, just like in a regular document editor. So instead of typing plain text, users can highlight their content, make it bold, underlined, or even create bullet points, numbered lists, etc., all inside the app itself. Let's see how this works with a simple example. In my Clappia dashboard, I will select this factory inspection app that I've just started to create. Let's say I want users to provide a detailed note with proper formatting. Here I have added a multi-line text block that captures text, but instead of using a simple text input, I'll add a rich text editor block in its place so that my users can highlight the important points. For that, I'll go to Design app, where you can see all the earlier fields. First, I will delete this multi-line text block since it's not needed. Then I'll click on Add field and add the rich text editor. Please note that this feature's formatting options can be used only in the web app currently. If you are to make submissions in the mobile app, this will be like a text input block, which can, however, be formatted in the web if needed later. Now, this block can be configured on the right-hand panel. First, I'll give a name to this field. I'll name it as notes as before. Next, we have description. This appears at the bottom of the input field, and you can use it to give users some instructions. You can also leave this blank if you wish. Then we have placeholder. This is the text that appears inside the input field before the user starts typing. Again, this can be left blank. Finally, we have the required option. If enabled, the user must enter text before submitting the form, or else they will not be able to. So if I enable this and save this, you can see this field is now denoted with a red star mark, indicating it is a required field. You can also see the placeholder text and the description. Let's check how this looks like in App Home. Here you can see the rich text editor block. If I input all the details in this app and make a submission without entering any text over here, an error message appears since this is a required field. So for this field, the user can start typing directly and apply formatting from the given options here. So let's say I type in some text over here and everything is formatted inside the field itself, just like a text editor. Now, let's say I want this field to appear only if the status is selected as critical. Otherwise, it need not appear in my app. You can give such display conditions. I'll just save this as a draft first. And I'll go back to Design app for giving display conditions. Now, in Design app, in the right panel of the rich text editor block, go to the advanced option. Here we have display this field if. This is used when you want the field to appear only under certain conditions. You can enter logic and conditions similar to spreadsheet, as Clappia shares a similar library, making use of the variable names which you can find at the top of every field in brackets. As I mentioned, if status equals to critical attention, only then should this field appear. To pull field value, simply type in @. So status. Now there are two types of status over here. This is the one that matches with this field. The other status is a default variable in Clappia. So status equals to critical attention, keeping in mind the uppercase and lowercase letters as per the option over here. Since I've added a display condition, we also get retain value if hidden. This option is enabled by default. This means if the field disappears because of a condition that you apply, the previously entered text will still be saved. In general, keep it enabled. Now I'll save this and go back to App Home. Now over here, the rich text editor block is no longer visible. If I select the status as pass, nothing happens, but if I select it as critical attention, this field now appears. This text appears because I had saved the draft earlier. Now I'll make a quick submission. I'll click on Submit. You can view all your submissions under the Submissions tab. If you're an app admin, you'll be able to view all the submissions, and your users will also be able to view them if they have the appropriate app permissions. Click on a submission to view all the details. On the right panel of this submission, it will show the formatted text exactly as entered. However, in this submission table, if I scroll a little bit, you can see the entered text appears in HTML format. Even if I were to download the submission as an Excel or a CSV file, the text will still appear in HTML format instead of the visually formatted text. But when viewing the submission, on the right panel, the text retains its formatting. This is something to keep in mind. One advantage of this block is that you can pull this formatted text in your PDFs. So if you were to configure a PDF, You will need to go to Design app, Configuration, Print Settings, add a print template. I've already added one over here. Let's say I make a minor change to this template. There is a separate video on how to configure print settings. I will link it in the description. So to pull up the rich text editor, again type in @ followed by the field name. And that's it. Click on Save. By pulling up the field variable over here, I can display the formatted text exactly as it was entered in my PDF. So if I go to the Submissions tab, click on that submission, go to PDF, you can see the formatted text exactly as entered. As I mentioned earlier, this formatting option of the block is only supported in the web app currently. If I were to go to the mobile app, here you can see that it acts as a simple text input field. Let's say I make a submission. Any apps created in Clappia will be instantly available in the Clappia mobile app. Simply download it either on Play Store or App Store, and the moment you create your app or make any changes to it, it'll be live and ready to use. Now that I've made a submission, I will go back to my web app. Here in the Submissions tab, I will refresh this page, open the submission, and I can format the text entered here. So this is how you configure and use the rich text editor block in Clappia. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Clappia support team by clicking on the button over here. Select the appropriate option that is convenient for you and we'll get in touch. Thank you.